On a dreary day in the Virginia colony in the year of 1712, British slave owner Willie Lynch delivered his famous speech explaining his breakthrough discovery on making a slave. Lynch confidently stated, "I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that, if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years." He then continued by identifying a list of differences that could be seen between African Americans and assured his audience that distrust is stronger than trust and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. In describing the various ways to divide slaves, Lynch said, "You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful." As a result of Lynch's message, as well as sexual relations between slaves and their master, light-skinned slaves often worked in the house, while darker slaves worked in the fields, creating tension among the slave and the African American community. Unfortunately, 302 years later, the African American race is still divided into groups based on the shade of their skin. Being a light-skinned African American with loose curls and even lighter parents has given me the perspective of being the other within the other. In August of 2009, I officially joined the Lubbock community with my first day of school. Though I immediately connected with my African American peers, there was a clear difference between the shade of my skin and the texture of my hair in comparison to theirs, and everyone saw it. Coming from a small elementary school across the street where race was never a discussion and the shade of your skin was never an issue, it never crossed my mind that I would be treated differently because of the amount of melanin in my skin or the lack thereof. Upon my arrival at Lubbock, I learned quickly, as the word nigger came to me like a slap in the face, sudden and painful. Soon after, the black kids began to make comments on my skin tone, unknowingly encouraging comments from other students and teachers. One day at lunch, we were eating hot dogs, potato chips, and an ice cream sandwich. A classmate approached my table of four with a smirk on his face and pieces of food in his hand. He proceeded to compare the brown part of the ice cream sandwich to my darker friends' faces, confirming that they did indeed match the acceptable tone of black. He then compared a potato chip to my face, letting me know that I matched and prompting the various comments and taunts that came with my lighter skin. As my 7th grade year went on, the baggage I carried became heavier and heavier, and my skin became more cluttered with names, words, and guesses that were tattooed on with an ink of ignorance. I became yellow, the unknown species, and a member of every ethnicity but the one I identified with. Teachers and students joined together in guessing games of my race. My muscles became cramped and sore from being shoved into numerous boxes, in none of which I belonged. You would hope and think that black people would come together and work to break down the boundaries and overcome the envy originally instilled in us by men like Willie Lynch. But instead, black people tear each other down, separating ourselves by the tone of our skin, and deem who would be a house slave and who would be a field slave, not acknowledging the fact that a slave is a slave is a slave. None of them are free, and all of them work somewhere on the plantation. Some black people take on the personal responsibility of validating or disproving the blackness of a fellow African American by comparing their own actions or words to those of the person that they are testing, as if blackness is measured by their own behavior. Unfortunately, their sense of being black is usually a reflection of the stereotypes originally introduced by white people during the period of minstrel shows. I would think and hope that the black race, of all races, would understand, accept, and embrace the idea that people come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, and shades. No two black people will ever be the same, and the sooner we free ourselves from the invisible shackles locked by Willie Lynch and all of his followers, the sooner we as a race can overcome and move forward as a whole. The residue of his crippling message is still seen in African American pop culture today.
Some say the blacker the better, the sweeter the juice. I say the darker the flesh and the deeper the roots.
My mama was raised in the era when clean water was only served to the fairer skin.
Just think of all the government money and food stamps that them little mixed-race quadroon nigger children will be consuming. And they consume a whole lot more than regular children because they eating for two races.
The business.
I like a long hair, thick, red pound.
Oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus. I never thought I'd ever be with a man so loving and light-skinned.
And I will always be light-skinned just for you.
Pound, team dark skin. We don't like them red balls.
I am dark-skinned and bald, so I hate you, and I hate Jesus.
I come the only girls that I thought of, all the light ones. Well, tonight then, we gon' do it for the dark ones.
Blacker skin and full of sin, come forward so I may lay my hands on you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Black, be gone.
A lot of shit we can't get past, like dark and light skin when it's just black.
She's my backbone girl, right or wrong. She's my world. Have you seen my chocolate dream? My redbone girl, yeah.
We'll use Thelma, that high yellow mulatto, Jezebel hussy.
Despite living with more attention than light-skinned women.
Light-skinned world, light-skinned girls, switching his vanilla cause he likes that swirl.
Black, be gone.
I am an other within an other. Yo puedo hablar español, but I am in no way, shape, or form Hispanic. I am sick and tired of being put into boxes in which I do not fit. I am a light-skinned African American. I am just as much African American as someone with more melanin, and I am just as entitled to check the African American box on college applications. I am American. I am human.